from the identity manager side to do that. So here's some of the early visualizations of walk through the experience. Basically, it's a three-step process. We want to make it easy to connect your Windows Server Active Directory environment to Identity Manager. It's going off here. It's doing some queries about, I don't know, Forest, trust, relationships. There we go. And it's found I've already connected a Forest. So what we want to do now is look at the groups within that. So the groups you're seeing earlier in our Forest, groups like admins, domains, those are the groups that Identity Manager can go and identify as having privileges, having users within those groups that give them administrative rights. And you may have other groups, groups used to control access to the file server or other Windows Server functions, SaaS applications, and so on. But let's just pick those for now. So now once you've identified the groups based on what Identity Manager is telling you is these are the groups, you can now look at what are the users that are going to be affected. So the groups, the users we saw earlier, Jen, Lee, Scotty, and so on, they have administrative accounts because they're going to be following the best practices we're doing in a separate admin domain. And we're going to ask Identity Manager to take those users out of those groups. Now this is just a demo of how it does, in which I'm about to take everyone out of the group immediately. In real life, you probably wouldn't do it in one big red letter day of, okay, everyone's losing their group memberships. This is an incremental process. You pick some groups, you pick some users, you move them over time. Identity Manager is all about helping you with that process so that you can take an Active Directory environment, which has probably grown organically within your organization, and over time, bring it under control, reduce the amount of variability, and put in place better practices for controlling the life cycle of who are the administrators and what they can do. But let's just assume we're going to go and empty those out. So now, when that completes, there we go, it tells us it's done. I can give a little video here, show them what to do. And now we should have a number of access rights within the organization. It's going to go read in things like IT Department AD Administrator. So these access rights correspond to what was discovered out of Active Directory. I told it earlier when I was setting this up that I basically have two categories of users, IT and non-IT. I had a couple of applications. It figured out what are the groups, and now we're going to associate users with all those different groups in Active Directory. And everyone who was an admin before now is no longer an admin, but they can request to be an admin again easily. So they go and they'd find what they want. So they want to be an AD admin. They click request. They specify which account they want to have put into the group. And this could be a personal account, their admin account. That account could be marked, for example, smart card required or VSC required, or it could be even a shared account. So if you're using an existing, shared password management tool, for example, for managing that password, you could say that shared account is the one I want to be given admin power. And then you specify the duration, a couple of hours, justification message. And then when you do that, Microsoft Identity Manager will then go over to your Windows Server and put that account back into the group. So from here on, the user is now able to do what they were able to do previously. They can see their applications, they can see the different servers, they could RDP using their admin accounts into those servers, they could use the PowerShell into those servers, and they would have the administrative rights that they had before for that period of time. At the end of that period of time, their privileges would be removed. So this is how Microsoft Identity Manager, working with Windows Server, even existing versions of Windows Server today, will limit the vulnerability of an AD environment to attacks that involve people trying to guess or compromise or otherwise take control over AD administrator accounts.